Hi guys, today I want to talk about a game called Beastieball. I've been a super fan of Pokemon since I was a really young kid, and to this day it's the only real media property I constantly engage with aside from a handful of in-depth live virtual battles. I've done my dabbling in competitive Gen 7 VGC for those wondering what my comparisons are going to be, and shiny hunting and especially challenge runs, and really enjoy finding a new and exciting ways to play the Pokemon. OC's roleplay that works. But every single one of these things, even if it's an intended feature from the Game Freak, is hampered in some way, made harder than it needs to be. Everyone has talked about how prohibitively inaccessible competitive Pokemon is, to the point of people being turned off from the idea of playing the game of more strategic level because it's so awful to get into, and again talking from experience. To compare Beastieball to Pokemon, or would even call it a Pokemon like, it's a complete disservice because it looks everything that Pokemon has baked into its sets and it's necessary here. From the FOMO to the artificial playtime bloat to the gatekeeping features of the game towards only those who are willing to put in dozens of it hundreds of efforts, and that isn't even spent playing the game, and it often tedious and repetitive tasks that only exist to waste time. Beastieball says, what if we said screw that and spotlighted a hyper-polished, hyper-focused, narrative-based game design? Every aspect of this game ties into the core themes, both of the world building or perspective, and the sheer mechanical richness of the game promises not only good experience for those who like strategic games, but also the opportunity to introduce this kind of depth to people who otherwise would have assumed, oh, that's not for me. The gameplay is good, it nails the feeling of just playing a random game of volleyball. It's not the most technically complex monster collector RPG, but it doesn't need to be. Occasionally it feels like EA just wants to pass the ball back and forth instead of going straight to trying the score points. I also love how your team follows you as group, especially when they come across a random ball and just start passing it back and forth between themselves and the wild beasties. In the end, it's really fun. It gets a lot of bonus points for choosing a unique angle and nailing it. The way the wall design works in the game is insane. I am playing with a multiple friend group right now, and every single person in those groups has a different path though the game, while still feeling just like a thrill and engaged. We've been swapping tips and tricks and discoveries, and it has been one of the most fulfilling experiences I've ever had with this game, and one I think it's still way. I don't feel like this game will have one "oh we missed out" feeling that so many do, and that's the breath of fresh air. The Beastie relationship and the vibe system is incredible, not only as someone who has crafted in the game ever, but especially as someone invested in a love genre of games. I have wondered if those were familiar with the 90s virtual life games, because a lot of the systems here have the same level of depth I haven't seen since PC games in that era, and I personally never thought I would see that again. It's finally a game where I can get invested in my little guys and have every element of the gameplay supported. I love every single design in this game, which isn't something I can say about any piece of media with the best story ever. I love every character, and every bit of writing feels like a breath of fresh air. The game's politics are upfront and just what it needs in any year, but especially 2024, and it means the world to see. I have not beaten the game yet, but the only reason why it's not because I feel like I'm allowed to actually slow down and enjoy the game, and do that for a long time. If you play Beastieball, you'll end up asking questions, many of which point to can I do this? Even early access Beastieball more often than not says yes and allows you to play. In a world of dark patterns and purposefully manipulative game design, I can't recommend this enough as the antithesis to that. 10 out of 10.